Today happens to be the 14th class. Good afternoon, all of you. Uh, it's been a little time that we had taken the last class after the internals. I think this is my first class here. So I will be continuing with the second module in which we are going to study the list data type. What we have studied so far is we have studied the basic concepts of Python programming language. We have studied functions, we have studied flow control, if condition, the while loop, the for loop. And then in the process, we have also studied what is exception handling. Okay, so that is what we have already completed in the first module. In the second module, we are going to learn what is the list data type. Why do we use the list data type? The list data type or the list is something which you have already studied in other programming languages. If you know the concept of arrays in other programming languages, then understanding lists will be very simple, because a list is nothing but like an array. You know what is an array? An array is a sequence of values. It is something which stores multiple values in a sequence. Okay, so let us say uh, you want to declare a variable of type integer, a simple variable of type integer. If let us say you want to declare, you can declare, and at any given time you can store only one value in that variable. You can store only one value in that variable, but in a variable you want to store multiple values. I want to store multiple values in a variable. In a simple variable it is not possible, so that's why we have something called as lists. A list is something which can store multiple values. The values can be of any data type. It is not compulsory that all the elements in the list should be of the same data type. Like arrays in C programming language, they are homogeneous. In arrays in C programming language are homogeneous, which means that if you have an array of integers, all the elements of the array should be integers only. Similarly, if there is an array of strings, then all the elements of the array should be strings only. These are called as homogeneous arrays, which is in C programming language. But lists in Python are similar to arrays. You can store multiple elements in a list, and these elements can be of different data type, which means that one element of the list can be an integer, another element of the list can be a string, another can be a floating point number, it can be Boolean values, and so on. It can be any data type. So this is the first thing about list that you have to understand. What is a list? A list is a collection. It's a collection of elements in a sequence. It's a collection of elements in a sequence. And these elements can be of any data type. Now, how to declare lists in Python programming language? How to declare a list in Python programming language? We simply declare the list like this. We write it in square bracket. Remember, we write lists in square brackets. We write a bracket and then square bracket, and then we write. So I will just write a new program here. I'll save this program, file, save. I am being saving all the files. I think I'm saving it here somewhere. Yeah. So all my Python programs are here in the D drive. Okay, I will do one thing. First of all, I will just organize my files. I will keep it in a particular folder. So in my D drive, I have all these Python files here. You can see. So I will create a folder here called as Python files. Okay, there is already one folder called as Python files here. Python. Yeah, Python files is already there. Yeah, these are all my files which I had used it for my face recognition and all. So I will create a new here called as Python test files. Python test files. Okay. So now I will take all my Python files that I had written for these classes, and then I will put them in Python test files. So this is where all my files have come now. So now I will do one thing. I will write a Python file here. I will write X. I will declare a list, and I will put square brackets here. First I will put 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So I have successfully declared a list. Very simple. Just give a name to the list, just like an array, give a name to the list. use an assignment operator, that is an equals to sign, and then in square bracket, remember square bracket, you should not forget this, because there is one more concept in Python called as the concept of tuples later on. It is similar to collection of elements only, but these tuples are in simple parentheses. It is like this, okay? But lists are always in square brackets. Please remember this, lists are always in square brackets. So I've successfully declared a list here. I will save this now. File, save. Guys, I'll do one thing. There is an emergency that I have got. I will log back in 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, I'll just come back. Okay, so please don't leave. Be online only. I'll just come back. Okay, so what we have done is we have declared a list here, and then we have assigned it a list of how many items? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4. So we have 5 elements in the list. And now I can access individual elements of the list. I can access individual elements of the list, just like an array in any programming language. I can access individual elements of this list. How do I access it? It's very simple. I simply write X and then I use the index of that particular element. For example, if I want to access this particular element, then I have to use the index of that. So we will see how to access individual elements of the list, okay, slowly. So let us go back to the textbook. So we first understood what is the meaning of a list. It is collection of elements. Elements can be of different data types. We can access individual elements of the list using an index. Okay, so we have declared a list here, 1, 2, 3, and then this is the list. I can have a list containing even strings. I can have a list containing even strings with a floating point number. Then I can have a Boolean value. Then I can have nothing. I can also have an integer value and so on. So a list can also, this is a very, very valid list. No problem in this list at all. Okay, right now. Now, getting individual values in the list, how do we use indexes? Let us say I have a list here called as spam. If there is a list called as spam containing 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 elements. The first element is cat, bat, rat, and elephant. If I want to access the first element, I simply write spam into square bracket of 0. The first element of the list can be accessed at index 0. The second element can be accessed at index 1 and so on. This is 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. Okay, so now that I have declared a list here containing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 elements, if I want to access, let us say I want to print the first element of the list. So I write print x of 0. I say print x of 0. So x of 0 is nothing but the first element. Why x? X because that is the name of the list. Okay, now let us see what happens. So file, save. It is asking me to save it. So I have my Python files here. So Python test files, and then here I will save it as Python. Okay, so I'll call it as list example.py, and then I will go to the command prompt and I'll go to the D drive. Then I'll say cd Python test files, and then I come here and then I want to execute this. So Python space list example.py, enter. So now it should display me 10. It should display me 10 because that is the first element of the list. If I want the third element, this was 0, 1, 2. So I have to write x of 2 here. File, save x of 2. So you can see that it displays me 30 and so on. I hope you understood. This is how we access individual elements of the list. Now, after accessing individual elements of the list, The next thing that we are going to learn is we can access them, we can use them as individual variables also. For example, now you saw that this value here 30, I can access it as a separate individual variable, but I have to use something like this x of 2. When I say x of 2, I'm accessing one element of the list, but that becomes a variable. Okay, this becomes a variable x of 2. A variable in the sense it is something which is holding only one value right now. So I'm accessing the third element of the array by writing x of 2, and then I can use it for concatenation and all that. For example, let us say I do something like this. Okay, some simple idea I'm writing. I'm saying s is equals to str of str. We know why do we use this str to convert an integer into a string. So str of, I say x of 0 plus str x of 3. And then what I want to display is I want to display what is the value of s. After that, I want to display what is the value of s. I hope you understand what we are doing here. Okay, this is something very silly, I don't know, but this is only to tell you that individually we can access elements of the list, and we can use them in our calculations. We can use them to concatenation and all that. So I'm using the first element of the list, and then I'm converting it to string first because it is an integer. Then I'm concatenating that with the third element of the list. Third means 0, 1, 2, 3, 40 value. So I'm converting that to a string, then concatenating the two, and then displaying the value of s. I'm displaying the value of s, which is over here. So file, save. So what should be the output? The output should be 1040. Yeah, of course, because 10 is the first element and 40 is the third element. Sorry, fourth element. And then when you concatenate, you get 1040. So 1040 is what you get. Okay, so this is a simple example to tell you that we can access individual elements of the list and we can use it in our calculations. Okay, now, if you try to access an element of the list which does not exist, for example, let us look at this example, spam. Spam is having how many elements in it? 1, 2, 3, and 4 elements. But if you try to access an element which does not exist, what we are trying to do here, we are trying to access 10,000 element. Okay, we are trying to say, now here if I try to say this, let us say I have this simple example here, and how many elements are there in the list? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so if I say I want to access the 9th element, I'm saying that I want to access the 9th element of the array. Is this possible? This is not possible, because there are only 5 elements in the array and I'm trying to access the 10th element. When we say 9 here, it means the 10th element in the list. So when I'm trying to access an element which does not exist, let us see what type of error it throws. So I saved it. I come here and executed the program. You can say that it displays me an error saying that list index out of range. It is saying list index out of range because I'm trying to access an element of the list which does not exist. That is what is explained over here, list index out of range. So you can access only that element of the list which exists. If you try to use an index which does not exist, then it will give you list index out of range error. Indexes can only be integer values. Indexes can only be, for example, if I try to say 1.5 here, this is called as an index, no? In square brackets, what we write, x of 1.5 if I write, this is a floating point value. Indexes cannot be a floating point value. It has to be always integers only. It has to be always integers, means numbers without decimal points. So it can either be only either 0 or 3 or 5. It can be only integers. It cannot be floating point numbers because it will give you an error. If I say 5 of 2 or maybe 2.2, okay, I saved it. If I go here, if I try to execute this program, then you can see that, you know, it displays me an error. List indices must be integers or slices, not float. It is giving me a direct error. Okay, so that is what we have seen here. So indexes can only be integers values, not floats. Lists can also contain other list values. Yes, of course, elements of the list can be other. For example, here, let us look at this example here. How many elements are there in the list? I have 5 elements in the list. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I told you that these elements can be even strings. It can be even strings. So this is also no problem. Okay, 3.14. This is also no problem. So this is a valid list, no problem whatsoever. And you know what? See, I remove this 50 from here and I add one more square bracket and I can write 12, 13, 14, 15. Look at this example. What do you see? You see that the list X contains how many elements? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. The fifth element of the list is another list. The fifth element of the list is another list. This is also possible. This is also possible. No problem. Okay. So it says that lists can contain other list values. The values in these lists of the list can be accessed using multiple indices like so. So like this, we have to access them. For example, you want to access, let us say, the value 13. The value 13 you want to access. So how do you use it? You say print x of this list is at what index? This list is at what index? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. It is at fourth index. Fourth index. And then in this list, which element you want to access? Let us say you want to access 13. No? So it is 0, 1. So you write 1 here. So the fourth element, x is fourth element, and that fourth element, second element will be accessed at index 1. So you write 0, 1. So you want to access 13, the number 13 you want to access, so you write 4 of 1. File, save. Now this program should display me the value 13. So you see that it displays me the value 13 here. So this is how you access elements of the list inside another list, which is given here in the example. Now comes the concept of negative indices. You have a concept of negative indices. Now let us say I write -1 here. I write -1. Look at this example. How many elements do I have here in this list? Let me make it a little simple. I write 50 here. So how many elements are there in this list of mine? X. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. First element is 10. It is available at index 0. Hello is the second element. It is available at index 1. This is available at index 2, 3, and 4. When I write print x of -1, first of all, is this valid? Is this valid? Yes, this is of course valid. No problem. X of -1 is valid. But if I say x of -1, which element do you think it will display you? Which element do you think it will display you? Remember, when you write a negative index, it starts from the back. It starts from the back. -1 is this one. This is -2. This is -3, and so on. So the last element of the list can be accessed at index -1. What about the second last? -2. What about the third last element? -3, and so on. So if I save this file, I will save this. Now I will try to execute this program. Now this program should display me what? 50. So you see that it displays me the value 50 here. It displays me the value 50 because I'm accessing the last element of the list by entering the index -1. I'm entering index -1. Okay. Now we understood. What if I write -3? What if I write -3 here? Print x of -3. This is 1, this is 2, this is 3. So it should display me 3.14. So I save the program. So it should display me 3.14, and then it does that. 3.14 it displays me. Okay. So we have understood the concept of negative indexes. Then comes the concept of slices. Okay. What is the meaning of a slice? It is possible in Python to extract part of the list. It is possible in Python to extract part of the list. For example, if my list contains 4 elements, 1, 2, 3, 4. If my list contains 4 elements, 1, 2, 3, 4. If I say spam, if I want to slice it, I want to extract only this value and this value. I want to extract the first 2 elements of the list, and I want to create a new list. I want to extract only part of the list, either 2 elements of the list or 3 elements of the list or 4 elements of the list. If I want to extract part of the list and create a new list, then I have to use the concept of slice. I have to use the concept of slice. I can cut a list from wherever I want. I can include any number of elements inside it, and I can create a new list. Okay, look at this example. So I will copy that. I will paste it here, Control V. Okay, so you know now that in my spam list, I have 4 elements: cat, bat, rat, and elephant. I want to create a new list. I will call that list as X is equals to SPAM, spam of 0:3. 0:3. Okay, 0:3. So if I write 0 colon 4, so starting from the zeroth element, containing 4 elements. Now let us see what will happen if I do that. So for this, if I say 0 comma 3, and then if I say print x, see what I'm doing is I'm not printing x of something, I'm directly printing x. So if I say print x, it should display me the complete list. It should display me the complete list x. So I save it, I clear the screen. When I execute it, now you can see a new list is created, that is x. And what does x contain? X contains which element? Starting from the zero index. Okay, starting from the zero index, containing 3 elements. So cat, bat, rat, only these 3 elements have come into x, and then I'm printing that x. What will happen if I say 0 colon 1? 0 colon 1, if I say, it will start from the 0th index containing only 1 element. So the list x will contain only 1 element, that is cat. So file, save, and then execute. You can see that it is a list and it contains only 1 element, that is cat. It contains only 1 element, that is cat. And let me see what will happen if I try to do this. Start from 0 till 9, containing 9 elements. Those 9 elements are not there in my list at all. But let us see what will happen, what type of error it will throw. Yeah, what it will do is it will take all the elements and it will put, since there are no elements further to that, it will put all the elements. So now X, the new list, contains all the elements of the previous spam list. Okay. Let us try to make this like this, starting from the 0. If I start from 2, containing 2 elements. Okay, so I don't want to start the list from here. I want to start it from the index 2. So 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2. I want to start from rat and then containing 2 elements. Let us see what happens. So file, save. So execute that Python list. So it's an empty list. Why? Because it starts from index 2 and till index 2. Starting from index 2 till index 2 it is. So there is no elements in that. If I write 3 here, then I will get 1 element starting from 2, 0, 1, 2. So I will get 1 element in this list. So let us see what is that list. So I saved it. I come to and then execute it. Then it contains only rat. Okay. So what it means is, what does these two values means is starting from this index till this index. Starting from this index 2 till this index 3. The slice works like this. In the spam list, start from index 2 till index 3. Whatever is in between, create a new list for that. That is X here. So for example, if I write one more here called as HELLO, one more element, and then I have one more element in the list. Let us say I have one more element in the list. Okay, so altogether, how many elements? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 elements of the list. Starting from the second index, okay, till 3 index means till this index. I want to start from the second index, go till 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I want to go till index 5. So when I write like this, spam of starting from the second index till the 5th index, 0, 1, 2. So it will start from here. So it will include in the new list the value rat, okay, elephant. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So rat, elephant, and hello. These 3 elements will come into X, and then I will print that. So file, save. I go here, execute. So you can see that it contains rat, elephant, and hello. Okay, so you have to understand it like this, that starting from the second index till the 5th index, whatever is in between will be created a new list, will be created as a new list. Previously, I was telling that starting from the second index containing 5 elements. No. That was my fault. It is actually starting from the second index till the 5th index, but not including 5th index. Remember that, not including 5th index. If I include this, if I write 5 here, it will not include the 5th index, means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. World will not be added, only till hello it is. So rat, elephant, hello, only these 3. 5th index will not be added to the new. Okay, so we have learned slices, how to slice a list, how to copy it into a new list, all that we have seen. Okay, so this is about slicing the list. You can also slice it like this. You can write spam. You need not write anything in the first. You need not write. If I don't write anything here, okay, you can even slice your list like this without writing anything in the first index. What will this consider? This will consider it as 0. So when you don't write anything before the colon, it will consider it as 0. So now tell me what will have, what will the output of this, starting from the 0th index till the 5th index. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So all this from the beginning, cat, bat, rat, elephant, and hello. So this will be there in the X list. So file saved. So when I execute the program, you can see that it displays me that. Okay, starting from. So when I don't write anything here, it starts from the 0th index. So I want all of you to just go through this textbook here, try to understand this concept. Simple it is. I have already told you that you have to install Python programming language, the runtime environment, and then please start executing these programs and be comfortable with the syntax of Python. Okay, getting a list length with len function. Yeah, then we will learn more about this. We will learn more about this built-in functions of lists in the next class. Actually, I have got a little work here right now. So